Hello, everyone. See if this works. Oh, it's not done with the thing. Hello, everyone. We're just setting up on the Twitch stream because, of course, everything has to erase all of the settings that I've put in previously. I really don't know how to make my stupid OBS remember the settings. I know about scenes, but it's still being dumb. Oh, the chroma key was just turned off. I see. Oh gosh, I thought I was gonna sneeze. Alright. Okay, let's put this over here. So I have the Discord chat running. I know what I don't have is I don't have a nice little cozy music. Is what I don't have. And I thought that I recently used playlist. There it is, copyright free. My throat's kind of dead today. Hold on. I got my headphones shut off. Jesus, will any of the tech like just stay working? All right. Wait, why is it not playing now? Well, it's playing on the. Here we go. Okay. Now we have some balance on the sound. At least it looks like it. Alright, so we have burial and funerary rites. We are finishing the book today, y'all. Mildly terrifying. But I do know that we are going to take a little bit of a break after this book, because we're doing mod training. So we're going to take like a little break, probably for like a month or so before we start the next book. But let's dive into today. It's actually pretty short, I will say that. Hi. You're new here. Welcome. We are a Hellenic polytheistic pagan channel. I am a Hellenist, which means I worship the Greek and Roman gods. Everyone's welcome here. Please feel free to tell us what your path is. We're finishing up the book, Hellenic Polytheism, Household Worship. I actually put a link in the chat, but I don't think it's going to show because I did it before we went live. So I need to put that in here, and I need to... Why it went to regular music, I don't know. Let me put this in the chat in the server as well. So that is a link if you want to purchase the actual book from the organization. Of course, if you join Hellenic Herald and you're in the server, you know that we have a free library for you to borrow books from, including this book, of course. My throat is being dumb today. I'm going to have some tea after this. So, burial and funerary rites. Oh, wait a minute. I forgot to grab my actual book. Because I have tabs and notes here. Here we are. Okay, so burial and funerary rites are very sacred to the Hellenic tradition. It's considered hubris to deny the prescribed burial and funerary honors to the deceased, which is why leaving people in battle and stuff, or people who are lost at sea, you know, like it's a big thing. Red. Let me put the chat for here. Where's the chat? Yeah, I closed it. You're a Hellenic polytheist, but you're never home during a stream. Aww. Well, we are going to try to stream at different times just to try to make it available for people. But remember, you can always catch the replays on YouTube, and I think the replays are here for like a week or something. Yeah. So, not only is there of course a burial, etc., but there's also, as it says on the bottom here, rendering of the honors occur on the 3rd, the 9th, and the 13th day, and the first anniversary of the following day. And they're known as blah blah blah. These names: Trita, and Anata, Trekada. Don't ask me to say these. Yeah. So, honors are also rendered to the deceased on their birthday, as well as during the common community festivals of the dead, such as the Anthesteria. So Anthesteria is actually a 3-day festival, for anybody who doesn't know. One of the days is dedicated to the dead, and it's called the Day of Koes. I don't know how to say that, though. So, do I have any notes in here for this chapter? I don't. Okay. So, preparation. The phase begins with like closing of the eyes of the deceased, obviously, after which the following actions are taken or commissioned for somebody else to do it by the family. So the body of the deceased is washed, and the wine. They're they're prepped for death. They're prepped for their burial. Laurel leaves are placed on the deceased, and the body is then covered with white linen or any bright white cloth. On the head of the deceased is placed a wreath of gold, silver, bronze, or seasonal flowers. This is a trophy awarded to them for having broken the thread and finishing the finishing line of the contest of life. I'm sorry. This meeting Hades is the trophy awarded to having broken the thread at the finishing line in the contest of life. I'm clipping that. That's great. I love that. Remember, guys, it is absolutely always a contest. Not always a contest to get to the finishing line first, but it's still a contest. So decorated with ribbons and jewelry, a coin is placed inside their mouth. This is an offering for Charon, the ferryman, of course. So, lying in repose. Life is a struggle. Life is a race. Not a race. It's a challenge. Bitch, I will come put a coin in your mouth. I 100% would. I need a reason to go to Portugal. Give me one. I haven't practiced my Duolingo recently. Give me a reason to practice Duolingo. Sorry, that's from I just read that comment from Isabel in the server. I am unhappy with the way I am sitting right now, and so I apologize for the amount of shaky camera. I am just uncomfortable in my meat sack today. So, I will actually tell a story now, which is really, really sweet, and it's also a really good story about cross-religion respect. And I might cry, because I just might. Before we do that, though, because my throat hurts, I am going to put us on a 60-second break. So make sure you grab a drinky drink and a snacky snack and maybe some tissues, because this might make you tear up. I'm gonna grab some tissues. While we're on break, hey Isabel, want to host an event for the 4-year anniversary? Want to host a watch party? We are back. Whoop whoop. Yeah, so I just said in the server that it is the 4-year anniversary of HH, and it is crazy. Like, what? What is this? How did this happen? No idea. Okay, so here's the story. It's about my grandma. I might try to go look up clips for this year's Anthesteria if it, I don't think it's passed yet. Of my grandma, like, talking on the stream, because so my grandma was fairly religious. My dad, they're both Christian, which is really interesting because my grandfather was Baha'i, but my grandma lived here for a while, and I was helping take care of her. I was visiting her like a bunch, and I, of course, she was always like, you know, God will help you, whatever, and I'm like, Grandma, no. And so once HH started, I started telling her about the community and the religion, and she couldn't remember all the gods and stuff, whatever, which is like, look, lady was like 100, like actually had her 100th birthday before she died. So like, and so she actually, like, because one day I came to her after the previous evening having a religious experience, and I went to her and I was like, Grandma, I held her hand. I was like, Grandma, I understand religion now. And she was like, that's wonderful. And she's like, oh, God loves you. And I was like, no, remember, not God, Zeus and shit. And she's like, yes, you know what I mean, your God. And I was like, thank you. So like forever after that, whenever she would say, you know, God to me, she would try to remember saying your God, but like that's what she meant, like always. So because she was like, I mean that. She's like, I don't remember. I'm like, that's fine, don't worry about it, Grandma, you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to remember all the names. But she knew kind of a little bit because she had a friend who lived in Greece, right? So my grandma came on the streams a couple of times, not as a host or anything, but like I had my little brother, because she wanted to see them, had my younger brother help her and put the stream on for her to watch, and like he would help her with like the typing, like comments and stuff, and it was really sweet. And she would ask me a lot about the community. She really liked HH, and she liked the community, and she was always really she always asked about it. I'm gonna cry. So I was here when she died. They actually, like, they thought she was gonna have to go to the hospital or something because she wasn't feeling well and whatever. And then she was like, no, I'm fine. And I brought her this cookie. I ended up eating the cookie. It was a really good cookie. It was like from a special place because she loved junk food. This lady loved, you want to see a smile on her face? Get her McDonald's fries. So I brought her a cookie and whatever, then she was fine, and then she went to the bathroom, and then after that, like, she died. So, and I was there, and like we were all there, which is amazing because most of us are born surrounded by people and actually die alone. But she was surrounded, we were all fucking there. And when the paramedics came and everything, so I carried drachma in my purse, for this exact reason. For the, you know, if I die, there's drachma in my purse, yo. Like, just pop. And I told my dad, I was like, look, you don't have to put it in her mouth. Like, I went to my dad, and what actually happened was I went to my dad like this, and I was like, Dad, like literally like 10 minutes after she died, and she's like, I guess they covered her in her room with a blanket or a sheet. I did see it. And I went to my dad and I was like, Dad, I have this drachma. And the reason that I have it is because of the ferryman in Hades. And he kind of knows the things a little bit too. And I was like, look, Grandma really liked HH. And she was really supportive about it. And it was a big deal to her. And I'm not saying that she's going to go to my underworld or my afterlife. But I'm like, I would like her to be able to come and visit. And so I was like, would you give this to her? Would you like just put it in her hand? Because like, I don't, you know, it's not, I can wash it if you want, but like, it's money. Don't put it in her mouth. Like, I'm sorry. Put it on her eye, put it in her hand. And then later on, when they were moving her to the funeral home, and he went and did it, by the way. He like literally went and did it right then and there. He's like, okay, hold on. And he's like, oh, yes. And again, note, my father is very Christian and very conservative, and she was very Christian. Again, even though she was like super supportive. Which is how it should be. Like, you can be very much your religion, but also be super supportive of somebody else's, right? That's how it's supposed to work. And he literally went and like opened the door and went and put it. I saw him put it in her hand. And when the funeral home came to take her, they gave back anything that she had on her, jewelry and stuff, because they're like, look, decide what you want, but like, we need these out of the way for the moment. We don't want them to get damaged or lost during transit. So, by the way, if anyone you know dies and they wear makeup or anything, like a wig or whatever, make sure you give the funeral home their makeup, their stuff, like if it's something that they like, give them your makeup, give them your stuff to use, because if you don't, they will use their own stuff. And my grandma looked terrible. She would have hated it. But my dad came back and he's like, look, they gave this back to me. I want to give it to you. When we go to the wake, you can put it with her. And I did, and she was buried with the drachma in her hand. So she can always come visit if she wants to. And I hate this story because it always makes me cry. But I love this story because this is this is how we can respect and support each other's religions with our own practices in a very respectful, understanding, and loving way. My dad didn't have to do that because that's not her underworld, right? That's not her afterlife. He didn't have to. It wasn't part of her religion. And I could definitely see him being very strict on that, like a lot of people. So, and it would still have been very reasonable to say, no, that's not really her thing. But he didn't. And I always tell the story because I think it's such a wonderful story to show that. Anyway, we're done with Victoria crying now. But yeah, and this brings us to like the lying in repose in the wake. By the way, heads are heavy. Just a random thing. Heads are heavy. Because I had to fix her makeup. I was so mad about it. I was like, oh my god, she would be so fucking mad. And we like fixed her lipstick and everything. And it was really sweet because of course a lot of us don't have the experience, like as we were saying like before, where they wash the person and they get them ready and all of that. Most of us have very little, if anything, to do with that process these days. And so I did feel it was really weird. It was super fucking weird. I very much have been more it set me more in my ways of saying like we have our meat sacks, because like that was definitely a meat sack. That was not my grandmother anymore, but she would have still been mad, so I fixed her lipstick. And I was very honored that I had that I was able to have that role because of it being part of the process. And I remember even going to the mod team and being like, hey guys, my grandma just died. I don't know how much I should or shouldn't be involved with HH right now, because death is like miasma, the worldly ick. Excuse me. The worldly ick, very much death is definitely one of those things. Death is actually one of those things where you have to do, if you are involved in the death, if you touch someone who's dead, you need to like do a ritual to cleanse yourself, right? And this was a big thing because we had to not only have a funeral here, but we had to have a funeral in Boston where the rest of the family was, and where she was going to be buried with my grandfather. So it was like a big thing. Yeah, you do know about that stuff, Isabel? Yeah. 4 funerals. Wow. I've been to a few funerals, mostly funerals of people like I barely knew. There's like been a couple that were like my grandmother. My grandfather, we were young and we weren't allowed at the funeral. My father regrets this decision. He has actively told us. But yeah, I just found it to be such a, and I'm glad, and I ended up doing the ritual to like cleanse and everything. And actually, I bought this book literally right before all of this happened. Not right before, but like I hadn't read it. I read this book on the plane to Boston for her funeral, and I finished it as we were arriving in Boston. And I was like, oh, good to know about all this stuff since it's happening right now. It was very serendipitous. And actually in the Minecraft server, in the HH Minecraft server, we actually have a little cemetery where people can go put, or you can ask for plots in the cemetery for your loved ones. There's one for my grandfather and my grandmother. Some of the other mods for the Minecraft server have put some of their loved ones. We have a specific area for streaming only, and then we have another funeral area that's a graveyard area that is like private, that we know that we don't go into when we're streaming. So people can also put private ones there, and it is open. If anyone wants us to put a plot there for their loved one, we will absolutely do it. We honor our loved ones with community and with keeping them in our minds and hearts. And we actually one day, I think it was for Anthesteria, if I remember correctly, where a bunch of us went into the Discord server, into the cemetery, and there's actually a little place in the Minecraft server in the cemetery that you can sit and like, it's like a little sitting area thing. And like 3-4 of us, I think, literally sat there and like on stream for Anthesteria, talked about our loved ones who died and like the concept of death in general and like our feelings about it and etc. And it was a wonderful experience. We'll probably do it again. It's fucking amazing. All right, let's see. That's why I think we should host some more purification rituals to like purify. Oh, we actually do purify the server time to time. We just do it privately as the mods. We actually have channels for it at the top and the bottom of the server. We actually haven't done one in a while. We should do one. We should do a purification for the server because like, yeah, we haven't done that in a while. So, excuse me. We also have like a lot of wind lately, so it's really killing my face, allergies and stuff. Okay, so traditionally the deceased would lie and repose at their own home, but in modern circumstances we don't follow this, of course. Holler Cemetery. So the chamber is prepared by placing a bowl of water at the entrance so that those who arrive may ritually wash their hands as they exit. Makes sense, right? We want to wash off the asthma. The coffin is arranged to allow the feet of the deceased to face the entrance. So this is not the traditional way that we do this now. Now people tend to be like horizontal away from the entrance just because of the way that a lot of these places are set up. I will say that I did remember there were actually 2 exits on either side of the building. So technically, my grandma was doing the feet in the right direction. That's all I'm saying. Technically correct is the best kind of correct. So the lament takes place in measured tones around the coffin. Honey cakes are really good. I need to learn how to make honey cakes because like a lot of people, like it's used a lot. So, and gingerbread is offered. My grandma loved gingerbread. There's a fair chance she still had gingerbread in one of her pockets while she was in the pants she was buried in. She loved like little snacks and so she was terrible. She ate like, you couldn't put cookie or if there was ice cream in the house, she was gonna eat it. This like 100-year-old woman. I'm like, Grandma. But like legitimately, eat whatever the fuck you want. Like I remember literally having a conversation with her, which was like, look, if you want it out of this world and you want to do it through like diabetic shock, I support this and will take you to all of the places that you will love. And she was like, I want to go get ice cream. And I'm like, I got you, Grams. So when people arrive, they pay respects. Or I don't know what this is. Organum. I don't know. Olive branches and 4 vines wrapped with ribbon are placed beneath the casket. That's nice. That's pretty. My grandma will like that. We just gave her flowers. We just gave her like just flowers, which honestly she would have hated because she liked fake flowers. I support this. So, after, you know, the wake, the lying in repose, the burial ceremony, the transportation of the deceased to the burial site or the cremation facility takes place on the third day following the death. The procession is conducted as follows. Leading is a woman holding the vessel containing the coes, followed by that is, I believe, wine that is left to be wine or be stored in pots, specifically on Anthesteria, that you don't open them except to like honor the dead, basically. So remember, this is like a 3-day festival. It's a thing. Okay, so followed by musicians, pipers, the deceased, the family, and finally friends and acquaintances. Burial. I demand that when I die, we have a parade with a band. And instead of going with the cars, no. I want a fucking parade float. I'm telling everybody. Y'all are witness. Yeah, I'm in sound mind. I don't know about that one, but in as close sound mind as I can. So the ceremony of internment begins as soon as the funeral procession arrives at the gravesite or at the site case of cremation at the crematorium where the ashes are to be buried. Before the burial or cremation takes place, a member of the family invokes Hermes Psychopompus. When I die, I want people to throw a party. There is literally a song that says, wait, I can't do it because the music is freaking playing. Green, green grass, blue, blue sky. You better throw a party on the day that I die. That's a song I keep singing, and I mean that. This is my will and testament. Y'all bitches better throw me a party when I die. God damn it. You can cry, but it better be from like laughing your ass off. Everyone needs to be wasted. Hail Dionysus. All right, so Hermes, part of Hermes' job is not just being the messenger of the gods, right? Part of Hermes' job is actually to take people down, and he's not the only one, but part of his job is to take people down to Hades, for them to cross the Styx, the river Styx, and coin and all that stuff. So the epithet of the title of this job of Hermes, there we go. I'm gonna eventually write all these analogies down because I think they really help people who are not familiar have a better understanding. That's a great one, Drek. That's a great one. As the song goes, I don't want to rest in peace. I want to dance in joy. I love that. I am gonna write that down. I have a wall. I have 2 walls of sayings. I love that. That's so good. That's a great one. So anyway, the Hermes' job title for this job is Psychopompus. There you go. Dance in the graveyards. Thank you. Let me just go. Okay, my Spotify is open to it, but I can't add it without playing it, which is really annoying. So we have our, as per always, we don't read through all the stuff, but so then we have a prayer to Pluton. Excuse me. Hades, right? Pluton is Hades? I'm not familiar with all the other names. Yes. So prayer for Hades or Pluton, whichever one you want to use. The decomposition of the 4 elements. That's an interesting one. I don't mind that. I think that's pretty cool. Saying a farewell to the deceased. And the funeral supper. I demand that there be steak at my funeral. If there isn't at least 4 T-bone steaks, It's not a funeral for Victoria. I think, and we're okay. So then we have remember we have the actual funeral and all that stuff. Then we have the 3rd day, the 9th day, and the 13th day as days to honor them. So we have Pluton is in his aspect of specifically in being underground. Thank you. Often gems and metals, but expanded to the beloved dead. Yeah, I always thought that was really cool when I learned about like the fact that like metals and gems fall under Hades' territory, and I was like, no, that makes sense. But like also, huh. So we have Trita. So that's according to the tradition, the burial takes place on the 3rd day after the death, and the ceremony of Trita therefore coincides with the burial, right? So you'll do the regular burial ritual, and then I imagine you do this ritual. So another prayer for Pluton. Then we have the 9th day after the death, where the deceased is honored in a ceremony, which is followed by another dinner, because we like to eat together. Flowers, boiled barley, and pomegranate is offered. Coes of red wine, water, and honey are made, and incenses, laurel leaves, cedar, and pine. I hate cedar. I smell like burning cedar. I don't know why. And that's Anata. So Hecate is also a goddess. One of her things is that she's a goddess of crossroads. So, you know, you're taking the path, which totally makes sense for Hecate to be involved in this. And then the 13th day is the ceremony of Traikas. I wish we had more flavor text and more information about the actual holiday itself. I appreciate the things, but like, man. So there's Hermes, Cathan, Eos. There we go. I'm sorry. Okay. Of course, we have a tomb or a casket. I don't know if you still call those tombs. So that was decorated. Excuse me. That was decorated in various ways with columns upon which various images or epigraphs are inscribed. The wishes of the deceased are taken into consideration, along with the various sayings or testimonies as to the actions of the deceased. Flowers are planted, and vases with flowers are placed upon the tombstone. And on the Nucia, on the 1st anniversary of death, the deceased is commemorated in the Nucia ceremony dedicated to Mother Gaia. Offerings of flowers, boiled barley, pomegranate are given along with coes of red wine, oil, olive oil, milk, and honey. So we have a lovely prayer to Gaia here. That's the last one, so let's just read it. So, technically, I think this would be hands down because Gaia's down. Technically not chthonic, I don't think. So you could do, like, I think you could do paddywhack if you want to and have one hand up, one hand down. So I'm not 100% sure on this one. You can also just do like this, and so it's just, you know, could be up, could be down, we don't know. Either or, middle ground. Goddess Gaia, mother of all gods and mortals, all nurturing, all giving, all fulfilling, seat of the undying world, immortal, vulnerable, multi-formed maiden, many-flowered goddess of the happy fate. O Goddess Gaia, we have come to give thanks for the hospitality you have extended to our loved ones. That's a cute little short poem. 1 second, there's a fire truck. Okay. So, epilogue. We're finished. No. It is not important that what we declare ourselves to be. It is far more important what our actions determine us to be. I love this quote. When I read this, I was like, yes. The Hellenic path is not for one gathering sterile academic information about the Hellenic worldview. If it was so, then given the volume of the books written on the subject, this would be a Hellenic world. It is not significant if one is able to perfectly recite the hymns, as would an actor. If the act is not consciously devout and integrated without a system of worship. So, just because you can regurgitate some information, that's not, that doesn't necessarily have the same weight as if you were doing it with what does we always say, with intention, because it's the intention that matters, right? um to be upon the Hellenic path is to also live a life according to the Hellenic worldview, even if one is not able to quote Hesiod from memory or recite Homer with prosody. That which essentially defines us is motive and attitude with which we walk this path. However, the assistance of the friendly traditional gods is required if we wish to successfully sustain the journey. For their friendship and care for the human race, the gods deserve sincere honor and respect. It is the writers that wish that for the reader this manual becomes the first bright signpost towards receiving this age-old relationship with the gods, a relationship from which our ancestors benefited so greatly. Prosody is when you put emphasis on the right syllable. Thank you. And that is the last message from Labras. So there you are, folks. That is the last. That was it. We're done. We did it. Finished it. It was like a while. That took almost 4 months. I think actually it was like we started a couple weeks into January too. So I'm sorry. I'm petting a cat right now. Hey, baby. The little chin scratches. Chin scratches. This is what people come on here for. They don't come on here for book club or Hellenism. They come on here for the cats. Tell me she isn't gorgeous. I dare you. Look at that one over there. Look at him. So cute sleeping. Alright. I have given the internet its cat tax. I don't know what the next book will be. We did have a list, so I have to go back and look at the list as to, because there was a vote, which was fun, but I think we should do another vote, because that was a while ago. And somebody wants to start a Percy Jackson book club, and I want to do that too. I don't want to host it because I've never, but I want to be in it, so we'll see whether that's happening or not, but make sure you all stay tuned, not stay tuned, but like come back and check the server later, because it is the 4th anniversary of HH, and we are going to be announcing some really fun activities. So, with that, ending earlier than normal, may the gods guide you on your journeys, everyone, and I'll see you in the server. And just in case, we're just going to put the link out right there. It should pop up in a second. There it goes.